everyone, welcome back to the channel. What's up? My name is Andrew Hawkrattle. I am your host, your guide, and today, beauty influencer. That's right. We are going to be hanging out and we are going to be doing some fun stuff in Adobe Illustrator today. If you're just joining us for the first time, hello, hi, welcome to the stream. Let me know where you are watching from. It's going to be a fun time today. We're going to get a little spooky, and like I said, we're going to be doing some beauty influencing today, so it will be very fun. We're not going to have the drama, but we are going to have the fun. So stay tuned for that. I want to tell you about a couple ways that you can get involved and how you can get joined into our community. And hello, Mallory, Carol is here, Laura, Maddie, so many fun names. Let me know where you're watching from. That's always my thing. So let me know where you're watching from. Always good to see. Let's hop right in. If you are unfamiliar with these challenges, every day we are learning something new in Adobe Illustrator. We're also having a lot of fun. Today we're talking about blending modes, but first let's hop into this. You can go to bit.ly/AI Discord and you can get plugged in and join us in our community. That's also where you'll be posting your challenges when you have finished them. So let's pop over there and see what's happening. Button, there we go. So people are posting their challenges from yesterday. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Awesome. We're doing some creepy typography and even a little more pumpkin here. So y'all are doing a great job at these challenges. You are killing it, and I love seeing what you're doing. Last night we went live and had some fun on our stream, on my personal stream right here, Hawk.co on Behance, and we gave you some feedback, we gave you some thoughts, we hung out. So if you're posting on Discord right here, also tune in to that stream because I will be reviewing and giving you a bunch of advice on your projects. So let's go ahead and hop right into the challenge. You know that I love to have a lot of fun. You know that we're doing a theme this week. So let's go ahead and hop over and figure out our incantation for today. Salagadula, Mechikabula, Bippity, Boppity. Boo! That's right, everyone. Today we are doing some super fun makeup tutorials. We also are going to be in Illustrator. So grab your brushes, grab your contours, because we are talking about blending modes today. Blending modes are a super powerful way oh, there we go. Get centered, Andrew. Pull it together. Blending modes are a super powerful way for you to augment existing shapes. Today we will be painting our faces, and we will be using some brushes to highlight, to contour, and to even add some color. Today we'll be making a witch as well as some other things. So let's go ahead and hop right in. There we go. Now we're floating head. Let's go ahead and hop right into our lesson and have some fun over in Adobe Illustrator. The ways that you can get involved right here, behance.net/challenge/illustrator. You can join our challenges and get the source files. Today you will need the source files. We'll be painting our faces, and I've created some faces for you to work off of, so go there and make sure you click the get started and watch video. Also, it's almost the last day to apply for the Adobe Creative Residency Fund, and let's go ahead and right here, last day, right? We need to apply here by November 1st, so go check that out and apply for the Creative Residency Fund. Now let's hop in to Illustrator and take a look at what our challenge is today. We've got some plain faces. If any of you have done anything with theater, this probably looks familiar to you. And villainy wears many masks. If anyone knows where this quote is from, let me know in chat. Today we will be creating a face painting using the pen tool, simple shapes, and blending mode. So it's going to be a fun time today. And we have two different faces here because blending modes are all about interacting with the values that are below them. So think of adding blending modes as we have our face, right? And think of it as using a makeup brush with eyeshadow, with contour, with paint, with highlights, whatever, and we're applying it to whatever that base is. So it's going to darken or it's going to lighten. Now I'm going to go through all of the different blending modes here and tell you a little bit about them before we get started. So let's go ahead and come over to the side, and I'm just going to make some super simple shapes and show you what what these blending modes do. So to start out with, we are just going to very simply come in here and make two colors. Now we have a red and a blue. What's happening? What's the hashtag on Behance to be featured? It is hashtag AI Daily Challenge. That is the hashtag to get featured on Behance. So we have these two colors here, and when we're looking at these, we need to think of them as paints or even as maybe transparencies, right? That we paint them on top of each other and they stop being individual colors and we'll start interacting with each other in different ways. And yes, it is an Irving Washington quote. Good work. So let's go ahead and walk over here. And this is our panel over here. It's the transparency. Let's drag this over here. And this is where our blending modes exist and kind of live. Now, blending modes need to interact two objects. So if we have, and yes, it is Legend of Sleepy Hollow. I was going to do a headless horseman, but we didn't quite get there. We just got the floating head. So blending modes interact with two different shapes. So we have these two with the colors, and it really is mathematical. So if we look at one of these colors, we can see that there are all kinds of values. There's RGBs, there's hue, saturation, and brightness. So what it's going to do is it's going to mathematically take those values and do things to them, right? So if we have these two here and we change it to multiply, what it's doing is it's taking those numbers of the hue, saturation, balance, all of brightness, all of that, and multiplying them together. So we'll multiply, and you can see now that as these interact with each other and as they move around, they continue to interact because they're multiplying the values of those colors today. Right? So, sorry, I'm reading chat and talking. So it's multiplying these colors together. So what we also can do is we can change to overlay. Now, looking at these different blending modes, the top ones here I like to call darkeners. Those will darken pretty much any time that you use them. They'll make them darker because they're multiplying down. Now, the next one are lighteners. These are lighten all the way through hard light. So these two sections are lighteners. And what that does is let's go ahead and put a yellow over these colors. So adding a yellow on top, if we select it and we change it to one of the lighteners, you'll see that it's actually going to lighten all of these colors, right? It's making everything brighter. And that's because it is interacting with those colors, and overlay makes it the most bright. Soft light is a little bit softer, a little more palatable. And then hard light is the most intense. It's going to really pump those colors up. So that's how you play around with those colors and those blending modes. The next set here are the augmenters. So what that does is hue is basically going to take any value and change the hue. Saturation does the same thing, and then color shifts it to that color. So if you look and we have a color selected, in here, hue and saturation, these are going to augment the underlying colors. So when we make one more on top here, let's go ahead and move this over. Let's say this is orange. Well, what's going to happen is when I change it to hue, it's going to change everything to a hue of orange. If we change it to saturation, it's going to change the saturation to match. So if we have something with no saturation, all the saturation goes away. So really crazy way to use these blending modes. And let's show you real quick how you can use these on a different face. So the first thing that we can do is we can start using this face and creating kind of different let's say face paintings, different characters. So all of these are separated out for you. Let's grab the eyes and group those in there as well. And we're going to start in with kind of creating a classic kind of multiplied look. And that is the look of our friend, yes, David Bowie. That's right. So we're going to grab the pen tool here. And using the pen tool, we're just going to create some simple shapes. And this one is going to be a lightning bolt across the way. So we're going to click, and using the pen tool is very easy. It literally is saying start at this point, end at this point. So we'll pull it over here, and we're just going to make a lightning bolt. So this lightning bolt, we're holding shift to make a perfectly perpendicular line. So if you hold shift, it will be perpendicular. If you don't, it will kind of just go wherever you want. So we want it to be perpendicular. And then we're going to have the bolt come all the way down here below the eye. And again, we're just very freeform kind of addressing and creating this bolt. There we go. And then let's go ahead and join it up here. Now with the pen tool, you want to make sure that you always start at the point that you've ended to make it a shape. So we have this, and we could shrink it down and put it up here, and there we go. Now we're Harry Potter, but we want to do a little bit of David Bowie here. So we're going to do this little lightning bolt, and it's going to go over the eye right here. And we're going to have it right under the eye, right there actually. And so what we can do is we want this lightning bolt to be red. So we're going to do a red right here. But the problem is it usually has a red and a blue. So we're going to make a copy by just clicking and dragging, holding Alt or Option. And then we're going to make this one blue. Now, this is how you'd see it maybe if you were just painting over, but we're using blending modes, and we want to make sure these blend together. So we can select these two. And we are going to go over here to our transparency panel and change the blend mode to multiply. Now you can see that they are interacting with all of the different pieces of the face. The colors have become a little bit darker because they're interacting with the skin. And let's say that we want to ungroup these. Let's do that. I'm probably going to regret that. But we want this eyebrow to be behind, so it looks like we've painted on top of the eyebrow. We can simply move it backward, and now you can see that it's interacting with the eyebrow as well using those multiplies. And thank you, Robert. That makes me feel very good that we think that we're doing a good job here. Yay! So the reason that I actually have two different skin colors here too is to demonstrate how the different blending modes can interact with different colors below them, right? So we have the colors here, and it looks like it's kind of just, oh, these are the lightning bolts. But if we move this over here, we'll notice that it becomes a little bit darker on there, right? So this is just showing that it's not just taking these colors and kind of merging them together, that it is actually affecting top to bottom how these colors completely interact with each other. Now again, I'm just going to take this eyebrow and I'm going to push it down behind the David Bowie mark. And I'm doing that just hitting Control and bracket. It pushes it down. So now we have these two different colors that are interacting with each other. Now, I want to get a little bit crazy in the last 10 minutes and show you how you can use overlay, how you can use multiply, and kind of play with these different colors, right? So we've looked at a couple different skin colors, but y'all, I think that there's one missing here. It's the one that I think of when I think of Halloween. So I'm going to use the different, I'm going to use the direct selection tool to grab all the different pieces of my face, and that's right, we're going green. We're going to do a green witch little makeup tutorial, and so this is explaining the basics again in a little bit of a different way. When we're thinking about blend modes, think about how it's interacting with the things below it. So multiply is taking the values and multiplying them down. Now, if we don't want to change the color, we can just use grayscale to augment a base shape. So check this out. Let's say that we want to do a contour. Right? And so this is why I like to think of it as applying makeup, right? We want a contour that puts, right here to bring out the cheekbones and all that funness. So we're going to grab the pen tool and we're just going to draw in this jawline. And it looks like we're kind of making this random shape, but that's fine. What we're going to do is select it and then come over here to our gradient panel. And we're going to put a gradient on here. Now this gradient, if we're thinking, is just using the different values. So we don't have to do a color here. We could do a darker green, but why do a darker green when we can work with values? And yes, I know that my hands are floating outside the globe. So we can change this to a grayscale. And then from here, we're going to augment it to just have that nice little cheekbone going in there. So let's go ahead and pull this up, and we augmented that. And now we want to make a clipping mask. So we're going to grab just this green circle in the background, make a copy of it, and select our gradient and the mask, and make a clipping mask right here. Now, this is the problem. We have white fading to gray. So when we multiply, doing white is the equivalent of multiplying by 0, right? There's no value to multiply when we're multiplying white in. So the white actually just goes away. So let's go ahead and click here and watch what happens when we change it to multiply. So when we change to multiply, it's completely fading away this white. So we could do this with complex gradients, all kinds of craziness, but guess what? We don't need to. We can do it just using a simple gradient and then using that gray to multiply down to change the value. Now we'll want to round this out a little bit so we can have that nice little cheekbone. And why not? Let's make a copy and put it on the other side as well. And to get in there, I am just double clicking to get into that clipping mask, and then we'll reflect and hit copy. So then we'll put that on the other side, and now we have a nice little contour. So the next we want to do a nice kind of glow, right? We want to bring out maybe the bridge of the nose. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's do a couple things. Let's do one gradient down here, and this is going to help to bring out the chin. And this time, instead of doing instead of darkening, we're going to lighten. So think of this as using a highlighter. Think of this as using something that brings out the glow. So we're going to do a radial gradient just from the center here. And instead of going to a color, we are going to shift this to white and take the opacity on this all the way down to 0. So now you can see we've got this nice kind of soft gradient. Let's pull it in just a little bit, and then we can actually squeeze it down and change this to 90 degrees. So it's going to push it over there and kind of squeeze it down. So now we have this nice white, and here's the problem. It's too white, right? It's too glowy. So what we can do is come in here and change the blending mode to overlay. Now again, white is going to interact and make it glow. It's going to make it really pop and bring those colors brighter. It's a brightener. So if we're using white, it's going to brighten it out in that white. But if we really want to, we can play around with this. There we go. We can come in here and change it to soft light, and we'll see that soft light again is literally just that. It's a little bit softer. We can also change to hard light. That's going to be super bright. It's going to keep that white in there pretty hardcore. Or we can do something like color dodge, which is going to, again, do the same thing, very, very bright. So we want it to be overlay. So we did that, and let's do the nose contour as well. And from here, all we're going to do is, again, we're going to do a nice little kind of bridge of the nose. We're going to round this out at the bottom, and then we will again do a gradient. Now I'm going to show you another way to do this, and that is to use the screen blending mode. So let's again do this to a gradient at 90 degrees. There we go. And instead of going to white, let's actually go to black, and I'll show you what happens here. So if we go to black, we'll set this opacity at 100. What's going to happen is when we change this, screen is the opposite of multiply, right? So screen is taking all of the lights and keeping them, and the blacks and pushing them into the background, putting them away. And how do you change the center of that radial gradient? All you do is click here, and then you can augment the center right here. So it can squish it and stretch it however much you want. So up here, we can grab this, and even though it's going to black, we can go to screen, and it's going to take away that black. Now, if we come in here, it looks like we weren't at 100%, so we're going to use the color picker and go to 100%, and there we go. It has completely taken away that black. Now, it has kept the white fully white. So if we change it to overlay, the white will interact, but if we do screen, it will take away the black and leave the white. Now, screen's also very helpful because it will take away any of that kind of augmentation when we change this white to maybe a different green color. So it's going to continue to augment and change that color underneath. And there we go. Now we've got a nice little bridge of the nose in there, looking good. Now, something else that I will use this for is I will use it for shadows, right? So we can use shadows and we can put in different colors, but if we think about it, using shadows are really just about making different values, right? That it's the amount of light hitting it is a little bit different and changes. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and drop on a hat, right? So we're going to drop a hat right here, a little witch's hat. We're going to make it black, of course. For the first time, I'm feeling wicked. That's our quote for the day. All right, so we have a little witch's hat that is happening here, and what's going to happen with this is this witch's hat is actually going to cast a shadow, right? And I believe that this would probably go further down this way. This witch's hat is going to cast a shadow. There we go, that looks better. So this shadow, we're just going to use the pen tool, and what I like to do is go ahead and click right here, and kind of make just a rough shadow where I think this shadow would go. We're going to have it go all the way over kind of this eye. And then we're going to have it come right back up there. So we want to drag it so that it is a very long shadow kind of coming over here. And then with the pen tool, we are just going to very sloppily make the rest of that point. So I'm going to select this and round it out, and you can do that just using the node right here. This can round those corners out. So we want it over the eye just a little bit. And when we're thinking about blending modes, what we can do is just think about how much light is being taken away. So we're going to change the blending mode of this to multiply, which means it's going to augment the shape underneath it. And from here, this could be a lot of light, right? So it's getting dark, or it could just be a little bit of light to have something that's very kind of gradual on that light. Excuse me. Yes, cheekbones, yes. So playing around with multiply and changing the value of light, you can see that it's actually just changing the amount of light that is being taken away or added. A similar way, if we want something that is in the center here, right? So let's grab our gradient right here. Maybe we want to highlight her whole face. As we can put this here, and we can make a highlight of this entire face. And from there, we can augment and change the amount of light that's happening, right? So we can come in here and just change. If we don't want it to be as bright, we just take that down, and we're just playing with the values. And those values, again, are either adding or subtracting. So check this out. If we do full white, again, because it's on overlay, full white is going to really make it glow. But if we make it darker, it's going to make it glow a little bit less. So we can kind of find the glow that we want on the face. And that looks pretty good. So we're using overlay to get that glow. And I think we need one more augment, and that is maybe to add in some color on these lips. So instead of using this black outline that I'm using here, I can actually multiply it down, and it's going to augment that green underneath. Now it's too dark for me right now. We can very easily go in, and maybe we want it to be a little more of that yellow color, so we can play around with that. Or you can make it just, again, use those values and make it a gray and multiply it down so that we can augment and see what it looks like to have those lips all together. It looks like something weird happened there. Let's see. What did I do? What have I done? All right, and let's multiply that down. There we go. So we can augment those lips and kind of play around with the faces. So what I want you to do is make a awesome character. You can paint up their face, do the contours, do some eyeshadow, or do something like this. Or go the simple route and make a member of KISS. Very easy. So go ahead and make these. And what I want you to do is post right here, bit.ly/AI Discord. Post it in there when you are done and completed with that project, and we'll be able to see them. If you want to, you can create them right now, and they will be reviewing them on the next stream at the very end. So about an hour and a half from right now, go. And on the next stream, we have our friends Julia Masalska and Paul Tranny hanging out and doing some personal branding. Super fun, super engaging. I love Paul and Julia. They're an awesome team. Some of my favorites. So make sure that you stick around for that in 2 minutes. And make sure you come back tomorrow. Again, we will be doing this pretty much every day for the next few weeks. Tomorrow is our last Halloween day. Then we'll be going into our fall festival. But you can check out at behance.net/challenge/illustrator. You can paint up that face, and you also can do some ghostly type. You also can do the jack-o'-lanterns from the first day, and maybe incorporate some of the glows that we've used onto your face today. Ooh. Then we have a bunch more challenges coming up next week, which is going to be a fun time, getting a little more fall festival. So join us tomorrow for another lesson and another challenge. And don't forget, it is the last day to apply for the Creative Residency Fund. Go apply for that, get involved, and join the Adobe community. So boo, Halloween forever. I know, that's how I feel. We'll do a little Halloween next week. We'll keep it going. So thanks so much for joining me today. Thanks for hanging out. I'm just a floating head here. Oh, my shirt's showing a little bit. There we go. Green shirt for the win. So thanks for hanging out. Make sure you stay tuned for the next stream with our friend Julia Masalska and Paul Tranny. And I will see you tomorrow on another Adobe Daily Creative Challenge. Goodbye. Goodbye. Don't forget to bring your death certificate.